For over a century, the Panama Canal has ruled global trade, controlling the flow of billions in cargo. But what if its dominance is slipping? Severe droughts, congestion, and rising fees are pushing the canal to its limits. Just as Mexico unveils a bold alternative, the Interoceanic Corridor. A $4.5 billion project, this 1,000 kilometers railway could rewrite the rules of maritime transport and shake up the world economy. History tried this once before and failed, but this time, the stakes are different. Mexico has government backing, military control, and a world desperate for new trade routes. Could this be the moment the Panama Canal's monopoly is broken? Or will Mexico's plan be another forgotten dream? The truth behind these power shifts is something few people truly understand. But if you do, you'll see the world in a whole new way. Let's get into it. Picture this: a world where the Panama Canal is no longer the undisputed king of global trade. Sounds crazy, right? But Mexico is stepping up with a $4.5 billion project, the Interoceanic Corridor, a bold railway link between the Atlantic and Pacific. This isn't just an alternative. It's a direct challenge to one of the most powerful trade routes on the planet. By slashing transport costs and cutting down transit times, Mexico is positioning itself as a major player in maritime transport, reshaping the way goods flow across the world. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This isn't just a railway. It's a blueprint for an industrial revolution. The Mexican government is backing this corridor with full force, planning to turn it into a logistics and manufacturing powerhouse. Companies that once relied solely on the Panama Canal may soon have a second option, one that offers faster turnaround times, better cost efficiency, and prime real estate for industrial development. With investment and job creation set to skyrocket, Mexico's infrastructure is getting a serious upgrade, and the global supply chain is taking notice. Of course, taking on a giant like the Panama Canal isn't a walk in the park. Mexico has tried something similar before, and let's just say, history wasn't too kind. But here's the twist. The canal is facing serious problems: congestion, rising fees, and crippling droughts. As businesses desperately look for alternative trade routes, Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor might just be the wild card no one saw coming. The question is, can it deliver on its promise? If you think this is the biggest trade battle unfolding right now, think again. Because what it took to build and maintain the Panama Canal is a story of human ingenuity, brutal hardships, and engineering miracles. And trust me, once you uncover the secrets behind its creation, you'll never look at modern trade the same way again. So, if you're ready to unlock more mind-blowing insights like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because knowledge like this, it's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The Panama Canal isn't just a waterway. It's a masterpiece of human ingenuity. Constructed in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth, it demanded solutions that had never been attempted before. The biggest challenge? Elevation. To connect two oceans with vastly different sea levels, engineers devised a system of locks and gates It wasn't just innovative, it was revolutionary. Without this breakthrough, the global trade network, as we know it today, wouldn't exist. But brute force wasn't enough to conquer nature. The excavation process alone was a Herculean task. Over 200 million cubic meters of earth had to be removed to carve a passage through the dense jungle. Imagine moving the equivalent of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Not once, but dozens of times over. And it wasn't just dirt they were fighting. Tropical diseases like malaria and yellow fever wiped out thousands of workers, forcing scientists to rethink disease control. In many ways, the canal's construction was as much a medical victory as an engineering one. Beyond its physical structure, the Panama Canal is a testament to vision and ambition. It reshaped logistics, drastically reducing the time and cost of shipping goods between the Atlantic and Pacific. A voyage that once required a perilous trip around Cape Horn could now be completed in mere hours. The economic impact? Staggering. The canal didn't just serve ships. It dictated trade routes, influenced wars, and determined the rise and fall of economies. It became the lifeblood of maritime transport, forever changing the balance of global commerce. Yet, for all its brilliance, the canal was never invincible. Over a century later, new challenges threaten its dominance. Congestion, aging infrastructure, and climate change are pushing the system to its limits. And just as history has shown, When one route weakens, another emerges. Enter Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor, a modern attempt to rewrite the rules of global trade. But is it enough to rival a century-old titan? If you think Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor is just a railway, think bigger. This isn't about laying down tracks. It's about creating an entire economic ecosystem. Stretching over 1,000 kilometers, this project is designed to do more than just move cargo. It's about strategically placing industrial hubs along the route, turning previously underutilized areas into booming centers of logistics, manufacturing, and commerce. The vision? To make this corridor an irreplaceable piece of global trade, offering businesses a faster, cost-effective alternative to the Panama Canal. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a government project, it's a military-backed initiative. President López Obrador has placed the Mexican army in charge of securing and managing the railway's assets. Why? Because he knows the stakes. A project of this magnitude isn't just about infrastructure, it's about control. The Panama Canal has long been a strategic geopolitical asset, and Mexico is making sure its alternative is well guarded. With billions in investment on the line, security isn't just an afterthought, it's part of the foundation. But even the most well-planned projects face resistance. The corridor runs through regions with deep cultural and historical roots, and not everyone is thrilled about the transformation. Indigenous groups and environmental activists have raised concerns about land rights and ecological impact. Progress always comes at a cost, and Mexico's challenge will be balancing economic ambition with social responsibility. The question remains, can the government navigate these tensions while keeping the project on track? One thing is clear, the stakes have never been higher. If successful, the Interoceanic Corridor could redefine Mexico's role in maritime transport, shifting the balance of power in global shipping. If it fails, it becomes just another ambitious project lost to history. So, if you're the kind of person who thrives on discovering hidden power plays and untold stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because knowledge like this is what sets you apart from the rest. A project of this scale isn't just about moving cargo, it's about shifting economic power. The Interoceanic Corridor is expected to generate 500,000 jobs and attract $50 billion in international investment. That's not just a trade route, it's a full-scale economic transformation. Mexico is betting big that by positioning itself as an alternative to the Panama Canal, it can reshape the way global trade operates. If successful, it won't just boost infrastructure, it will redefine Mexico's role in logistics and maritime transport on a worldwide scale. But with great ambition comes great resistance. The corridor cuts through regions rich in indigenous history, and not everyone is on board with this modernization. Several indigenous groups argue that their land and way of life are at risk, while environmental activists warn about the ecological impact. Industrialization at this scale can bring wealth, but it can also bring destruction. Striking a balance between economic growth and cultural preservation will be one of Mexico's biggest challenges. Beyond local concerns, the corridor also faces competition. The Panama Canal isn't going to roll over and surrender its dominance. The Panamanian government is already working on solutions to its congestion and drought issues, including massive investments in water management and potential expansions. If the canal successfully adapts, will companies still see Mexico's project as a necessary alternative? The corridor may be betting on current weaknesses, but what happens if those weaknesses are fixed? For now, the global shipping industry is watching closely. If the Interoceanic Corridor proves its worth, it could become a permanent fixture in global trade, shifting supply chains and investment flows in ways we haven't seen in over a century. But if history has taught us anything, it's that trade routes are never static. They evolve, adapt, and sometimes they disappear. Which fate awaits Mexico's ambitious plan? The answer lies in the changing tides of global commerce. The world's global trade network is like a living organism, constantly evolving, adapting, and reshaping itself in response to new challenges. And right now, one of its main arteries, the Panama Canal, is under strain. Severe droughts have reduced its water levels, forcing authorities to limit the number of ships that can pass through. Add congestion, rising fees, and growing demand, and you get a perfect storm that threatens to disrupt maritime transport. In this scenario, the Interoceanic Corridor isn't just an ambitious idea, it's a potential necessity. This shift isn't just about Mexico and Panama. It's about the entire world. The delays and restrictions at the Panama Canal have already affected global supply chains, leading companies to rethink their strategies. Diversifying trade routes has never been more critical. If Mexico's infrastructure proves efficient, we could witness a redistribution of investment, manufacturing, and shipping routes that alters the dynamics of international commerce. This isn't just a new railway. It's a potential game-changer in logistics. But let's not underestimate the canal's ability to fight back. Panama has already begun investing in projects to improve water management and capacity. The question is, will those efforts be enough, or has the canal reached its natural limit? Trade giants like China and the U.S. are paying close attention, knowing that whoever controls the most reliable trade routes controls a significant portion of the world economy. Mexico's success could shift the balance of power in ways we haven't seen since the canal first opened. So, what does this all mean for the future of global trade? Will Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor rise as a true competitor, or will the Panama Canal prove too entrenched to challenge? One thing is certain: history is being written right now, and those who understand these shifts will be the ones shaping the future. The balance of global trade is shifting. The Panama Canal, once the undisputed gateway of maritime transport, is struggling with droughts, congestion, and rising costs. Meanwhile, Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor is stepping in with a $4.5 billion challenge that could rewrite shipping routes. But can it truly compete? Or is the Panama Canal simply too entrenched to be replaced? History proves one thing: trade routes create empires, and those who control them shape the world. The rise and fall of economies have always depended on who moves goods the fastest and cheapest. If Mexico succeeds, this corridor won't just transform logistics. It could shift economic power across entire continents. The question is, are you paying attention? Because the people who understand these hidden shifts in investment, trade, and infrastructure are the ones who always stay ahead. If you want to be part of that group, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this is just one of many power moves shaping the future.